Really nice to meet you. Could you introduce yourself for the folks at home?
Yes, my name is Hilary Heap. I am running for Las Vegas Justice Court Department 4.
Awesome. Could you tell us a little bit of background? You had a brief bio, who you are, where you're from, what you've done in the past.
Sure. Like a lot of people in town, I'm not from Las Vegas, but about 20 years ago, I chose to make Las Vegas my home and decided this was the place I wanted to raise my family. When I first moved to town in 2005, I started working down on the strip in the hospitality industry. I worked at a couple different hotels and casinos while I was working. I went to UNLV. I got my undergraduate degree in criminal justice, and I went to UNLV Law School as well. During that time, I spent a lot of time focusing on the younger members of our society. I consider them victims, even though they were already in the criminal justice system, because they're victims of our society to be in the system at that young age. So I did a lot of advocacy work to protect their rights. I worked in conjunction with the Clark County Public Defender's Office, and I actually represented some children that were already in the system. I knew I wanted to continue my service to the community and to victims. So after law school, I joined the Clark County District Attorney's Office. I am a chief deputy DA. I've been there for about 13 years now. I've had a lot of different roles in the DA's office. I spent about 5 years on the drug trafficking team, so protecting our community and our children from illegal drugs. I've done well over 20 jury trials in that capacity, or in my capacity as a deputy DA, and I am currently the team chief for general litigation track 2. So that as a yeah, it's a lot. So as the team chief, I handle 3 separate justice courts and 5 district courts. One of the justice courts that we handle now is the Resort Corridor Court. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but it's a specialty court that focuses on what's happening in our tourist areas. So we look to protect the victims of our community as well as our tourists. And additionally, we try to get services to those community members that are more vulnerable that are in those areas that need rehabilitative services.
So we're talking, with some of the judicial candidates about the trust in the judiciary. Now, if you look at polls and that sort of thing, there is a lack of trust in the judiciary. How can we improve that? Do you have any thoughts on that topic whatsoever?
Well, I think one thing we need to do as a judiciary is make sure we are following the laws and applying the laws that our community has determined should govern us, right? As judges, we aren't there to make the laws. We're there to hold our community and ourselves accountable to the laws that we have in our system. I think once we start doing that on a regular basis, then our community will have more trust in our system. Additionally, I think we need to get out there and give the public more knowledge, right? A lot of people don't know what the judges do. They don't come out to vote for us because they have no idea, right? People go to the polls, they don't know any of our names. Sometimes they just pick a name that they like better, which is kind of scary, right? Because judges are the people that have the best ability to affect people's lives, especially in justice court. This is the court of the people, where somebody who comes into the system, more likely they're going to see a justice of the peace rather than being sent up to district court. Because most people that come into the system, they're not committing, first degree murder. They're people who've made a bad mistake, right? And I think the best way to get people out of our system too is to keep the community safe by getting people out of the system. And I think we would have more trust if the public saw what we were doing.
Topic that Mr. Sanson's been very involved in, family law courts. I know you're not running for family law judge. We've had some criticism on that sector. I'm curious, what's your general thoughts about that sector of law?
Um, so family law, I mean, I don't practice in family law at all. I'm a chief deputy district attorney. The only time my career or my legal practice does touch family law is if we have criminal defendants or cases that have a companion family law case, and usually we're talking about maybe child abuse cases. These are really, really tough areas because they're very volatile. Things are based on people's emotions. So I think that we have to have judges that are more educated in that area and that can handle the emotional nature of those types of cases.
It's in terms of education, that's something that seems to be a recurring theme. You had mentioned judges need to be experienced, and there's individuals like yourself that have actually been in the DA's office. You understand the law, but on the inverse, you also there's sometimes an issue, and again, something that we've seen through veterans in politics, where it seems as though certain judges might be overstepping their bounds in terms of their knowledge of the law. Do you have any comments on that?
Well, I think it's becoming upon all of us once we decide to take the step to run for judge, because that's our system here. Whether that's the best system, whether it's better to appoint judges, that's not for me to say. We do have this system where we elect judges. So if we decide to take that step, it's incumbent upon us to educate ourselves. I would never go into an area of law without educating myself, right? We have continuing education classes, and we have the research skills as bar attorneys. We know how to research the law. We just have to make sure we're all putting in the effort, so we are doing the best we can to serve our community.
About how you're mentioning like some people just see, oh, I like this last name, I'll choose that person. How do we, and I know this is a huge challenge to get people excited to actually do their research. Is there any immediate thought you have on how we could improve that and make sure people really understand who they're voting for and really the significance of it? Because sometimes voting for a judge seems to be a lot more important than a politician. But I love your thoughts on
Yeah, I think it's definitely more important because we're all going to go out and vote for the president, right? But most of us are not the president, but you have a good chance of actually coming into contact with one of our community judges. That's who you're going to see if you ever enter our legal system. And I mean, I think the best thing to do is get knowledge out there. How we do that, there are ways with a lot of community outreach. It's incumbent upon the judges to go out to go to schools to speak. It's those of us that are in the legal system have to introduce and get to the people who aren't involved or maybe don't even want to be involved. Even in a campaign like this, it's hard. I don't know the millions of people that live in this valley, and I have to try to get my name before them and what I stand for. So that's a challenge too. We just have to get out there and we owe it to our community to do that.
Awesome. Now, any last thoughts you want to share? Anything you want to tell the viewers and social media, websites, anything?
Yes, you can learn more about me at my website. It's www.hilaryheap.com. It's HILARYHEAP.com. You could follow me on social media at elect Hilary Heap. I have Facebook, Instagram, and I'm on X as well. What I can tell the community is that I have given essentially my entire adult life and my legal career to serving this community. Community safety is extremely important to me, as is community service. And that's why I am making this run for Justice of the Peace Department of Court.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.